Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit and share with you all about the 4 businesses that I have built as an entrepreneur and a stay-at-home mom the last 14 years. So I am a serial entrepreneur. I love building businesses. I love growing businesses. And now that I'm a business coach for Christian women, I love helping other moms build businesses that work for their real life. And I'm really excited to share this little peek into the last 14 years of my journey with you today. So for each of these 4 businesses, I'm going to share how I got started. I'm going to share how I monetized that business, what I loved and what I didn't love about the business, and the biggest thing that I learned coming out of that business. The first business that I built was as a family photographer. So when my son was born, I was actually a teacher. And when he was about 18 months old, we moved to another state. So I decided to take that opportunity to move into building my own business. So I bought a used camera. I hopped online and I learned as much as I could, and I slowly built this business. Now, it really took me, I would say, a couple of years to get to where I was earning meaningful income, because those first couple years I was just learning everything I could. I was reinvesting what I was making back into the business, but that was so worth it because it really set me up for the next 8 years that I did family photography. So some of the things I loved about this job was I had the best clients. I formed really meaningful relationships, and many of them are actually still my friends today. So that is really cool. It was really just a great way to meet people. It was a great way to get out of the house when I was a stay-at-home mom. And it really just gave me a really good creative outlet. Also, with these kinds of businesses, it is pretty easy to get started making money pretty quickly. So even though I was reinvesting that money, I did start to earn, I would say, within maybe 3 to 4 months of starting this business, which I would say is pretty good. The downside to this business was that as my kids got older, a lot of photography sessions are going to need to be in the evenings and on the weekends because that's when families are available. And as my kids got older, that's when all of their activities would be, their baseball games, their soccer games, their band concerts. And I didn't want to miss out on any of that. So that is why after about 10 years, I stopped being a family photographer. But it was such a good business for me for that season of my life. It really gave us a lot of freedom. It brought in, I would say, anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And that was really only working about 10, 12, sometimes 15 hours a week. So it was really, really good for us in that season. But there just came to be a point where I didn't want to miss out on my kids' activities. And so I decided to pass along those referrals to someone else. So speaking of that, one of the biggest things that I learned is that I probably should have gone ahead and sold this business. I had a really big client base. In fact, I was turning away clients probably almost weekly because I really didn't want to work more than 10 to 15 hours per week. So I had built up this wonderful client base, and I should have probably sold it to another photographer. Now, the photographer that I referred all my past clients to, she's amazing. I love her, and I'm so glad that I've been able to do that. But from a business perspective, it probably would have been smart for me to go ahead and sell the business. Also, for the last 2 to 3 years that I had that business, like I said, I was turning away a lot of clients weekly, sometimes even daily, because I didn't want to work more than that number of hours. And looking back, I probably should have hired an associate photographer. That could have really doubled my business pretty much overnight. And so that is one thing that if I could go back in time and change something, I would maybe have taken that step to expand my business. But overall, this was such a great business for me in that period of time. Again, I did it for about 10 years. And those first couple of years that I was really pouring in so much energy to learning and perfecting my craft and reinvesting back into my business really set me up for the next 8 years so that I could really make some meaningful income in really low hours per week. And I learned a lot from it. And I'm really glad that I had that experience of that service-based business. The second business that I built actually overlapped with that photography business a little bit, and it was an Airbnb business. So my husband and I decided to buy a rental property. We found this really cute little historic home in the downtown area of where we live, and we just poured everything into it for about a month. We decorated it so cute, and we put in all these special touches like a fun coffee bar and extra phone chargers and sound machines. And it was just such a fun project for us to work on together. And then we ran that for about the next 3 years, and it was really fun. We met all sorts of interesting people, made a lot of connections, had a lot of repeat guests, which was always really fun. And it was a really good experience. Now, I will say that the downside is that, well, one of the upsides is we were very booked, which is great, but the downside of that is that I was on call all the time. So every day, every night, I had to make sure my phone was on so that if a guest needed something, I could help them out. During church, sometimes I would have to be answering messages. And after about 3 years, that just really wasn't sustainable. We also moved a little bit further from the property, so it was a little bit more difficult to maintain. But it was such a fun project for those 3 years that we had it. We also sold it for a profit. So the ways that we monetized were from obviously the rental income from posting on Airbnb and Vrbo. And the income for that, depending on the month, some months we were breaking even, which if you know much about real estate, you know that that's actually pretty decent. And some months we were making around $1,500 in profit, which was wonderful, sometimes even more than that. So it was a really good business for us. Did have to be on call a lot, but there wasn't a ton that I had to do. So I did need to be on call, but it didn't take up a lot of my hours. I just needed to be available. And so then we also made money on the sale of the home. It was a really good time to sell after those 3 years, which was good for our part for making money on the back end as well. And one of the things that I learned is that it's just not always worth it to have to be tied to your phone. And I probably should have hired someone to help me out with that so that we could continue to grow and scale that business without me being the main person to run it. So maybe if I would go back, I would have hired someone to do that. But also, I just appreciate it for what it was in those 3 years and learned a lot about the real estate industry, the hospitality industry, and it was just a really special time for my husband and I to be able to work on that really fun project together. The third business that I started is a travel brand called Everyday Family Travel. And we have a website, YouTube channel, social media platforms where we share kid-friendly destination inspiration across the United States, as well as our favorite tips and hacks for traveling with kids. So this has been such a fun brand to grow. I started this a couple of years ago, and the ways that we monetize are mainly through ads and affiliates. So you can monetize through ads on YouTube and on a website. So for instance, an ad company places ads on our website, and for every 1,000 visitors, we earn a certain dollar amount. And that just gets sent to our bank account every month. It's very passive, which is amazing. And then also through affiliates. So for instance, if I write an article about the best hiking boots for kids and I link to our favorite pair of hiking boots, if someone goes and clicks on that link and purchases those boots, then I receive a small commission for that. So it's been a very great business for us to start, and it's been very fun to share all of our experiences and our travels. And now that I've stepped away from it a bit, one of the coolest things is that I still get that passive income every month. So for instance, I have not really worked on that business for several months since I've transitioned to being a business coach, and I still get those checks in the mail every single month, which is amazing. So it was very good for being able to step back and still have that recurring income. One of the drawbacks is that so much has changed with Google and AI and SEO that you really can't depend on Google to show your content anymore. It could put you at the top of the page for years and years and then all of a sudden just drop your website completely. So it's just not quite as reliable. You really do have to build this ecosystem of different platforms for it to work, which we have done, but it does kind of get you on that hamster wheel of content creation, which I didn't really want to be on across so many different platforms. But it has been very fun. We still go ahead and post there when we do take a new trip. So it's not something we work on every single week, but we do update it when we travel. And it's been really great to be able to share those experiences with other families and share with them what we wish we would have known before traveling to a specific destination, things like that. And the passive income is going to be great for our family as we move forward the next few years. The final business that I have started is, of course, this coaching business for Christian women entrepreneurs. And this is a business that had been on my heart for at least a year before I actually started it. And as I've gone through the last 14 years of being a stay-at-home mom and an entrepreneur, being able to build businesses in less than 20 hours per week while my kids are in school, I really started to have a passion for helping other women do the same. So my coaching business was built in about a month, but it was really formed over the last 14 years of being an entrepreneur. So now I can take everything that I've learned in all those businesses across 3 different niches and help other moms build the right way on a firm foundation from the start. So from those other 3 businesses, I've learned so much about everything: content creation, audience building, Pinterest, SEO, YouTube, photography and videography, email marketing, funnels. And now I can take all of that information and help other moms pick the path that's right for them and get them started off with the best strategy so that they're not wasting time just kind of piecemealing advice together that they have found online. This is the business that I am most passionate about because I'm seeing such huge transformations in the women that I work with. Women who thought they needed to have a 9 to 5 to make meaningful income for their family, but can now stay at home, take their kids to school, pick their kids up from school, not miss that class party or the soccer game, and still bring in an income that helps support their family. Whether you start one business and see it through for a couple of decades or are on your 3rd or 4th business like I am, I believe you are right where you should be. And if you would like to partner with a coach to time collapse your growth and get you to the goals that you have set for yourself more quickly, I would love for you to apply for my VIP one-on-one coaching. The link is in the description. If this episode brought you encouragement today, I would love for you to subscribe so that we can meet back here again next week to grow and scale your business.